Why, hello there, grown rats and kitty cats. Who wants to party? Yeah, party in the smoker's ward. Things go the way they're going. That's where the majority of my friends will be in 50 years. You better believe no one's going to stop partying by the time they're all 70-something. At least my friends did, the ones who grew up in the summer of love, well, second summer of love, you know, house music, all that good stuff. They're 50s, 60s, they're still shaking it. That's why they're some of the most laudable, impressive role models I've met in my humble existence. Now, I would like to talk about the single most reality-shaking trip of my life. Now, this was a lot of fun. At the time, it was kind of scary, but like I remember after this, I met up with some friends because literally 5 minutes after I came out, I'd gotten a call from a friend who was like, "Oh, this friend so-and-so is doing a music video, you should be in it." The same friend who did the music video that I had linked in one of my playlists. I mean, it's a little bit more of like a traditional YouTube video style music video. Definitely doesn't have the production value of the one I linked, but if you want to just see me sort of sliding around in the background of the video, I can link that too. But I mean, needless to say, I showed up and I was like, guys, I just met my DMT royalty bloodline, and it was insane, man. They're all like, dude, cool your jets. But no, this is actually a pretty cool story, and being the innately reasonable, cool-headed guy I am, I've come to just, essentially rationalize this as, you were pretty high, man. That's what happened, as opposed to taking things a little bit more surface level, literal interpretation of the events that preceded and whatnot. So, at this time, I had only had one DMT breakthrough, and I had completely blacked out for it. Not completely. I mean, I remember going into it. I remember taking 2 very big hits, and typically, like with my lung capacity, that's all I need for a breakthrough, and I felt like I had pulled the trigger of a gun in my mouth, and just my head went bang, and I just deflated into my bed, it's just, this is where I kind of blacked out. I was literally in blackness, black void, pretty much. I could see stuff moving around, like lights and whatnot. Kind of like when you see an alien spacecraft or something in a movie, and it's scanning through the fog at night. It was kind of like that. I had this thing happen where I forgot that I had even smoked DMT in the first place. So I was kind of going like, am I dreaming? Am I dead? Am I dreaming? Am I dead? Am I dreaming? Am I dead? And I had experienced breakthroughs before, but I had no memory whatsoever of what I did to get myself to that place. So nothing to contextualize the experience, plus I remember going very fast. And all I remember other than that is no entities or anything. I had a feeling of presences around me waiting to jump out, I felt like I was this sounds weird, but almost like they were smiling. Like, hey, dude, we're gonna surprise them and have a nice surprise party. And then they heard me going, dreaming, dying. And they were like, oh, like I felt this disappointment, this tremendous disappointment. Like, no, he's not having a good time. Let's let him out of this early. And yeah, last few things I remember. It's like I was going along this bright, luminous line, and it was linked to other lines, kind of like a star chart or something, and it was like the same color as stars. And I could see these like holographic Aztec pyramids that had bright stars inside them. And yeah, that's all I remember of that first breakthrough. So, and that was I think 40 milligrams. And so I tried again, 25, 30 milligrams at a time. I have this technique, you see, for if I try not to do free-based DMT anymore. I find it just very unpleasant compared to Changa. But I have this technique still in my mind that works very well. But here's the thing, the catch is you gotta have a pretty good lung capacity. You gotta be able to slowly inhale for a long period of time to make it work, and not cough in the process or you'll fuck it up. Yeah, so it's easier said than done, but all it entails is you take the bulb, those little meth pipe thingies, and I had a little bubbler like that, and the stem went in, came out, bulb. Take a bulb, put in the DMT, melt it, and just kind of go like that. Not burning it, and sort of keeping the lighter, that far away. Good inch and a half at least. Why did you see it start to burn? Stop. Lighten, motherfucker. I would do that, and I'd roll it around until the DMT would melt, and then just cover the inside of the pipe. And then I would, wait for it to settle, and then just, big exhale. And I'd light it, and I would watch the vapor start to rise, and it would start slowly, and as it keeps slowly, like I'm just kind of gradually pulling on a straw, and then when it goes, boom, and that mass in the middle lights up. Alright, just. And so, this time, I was doing that, and I had done 25, 30 milligrams, I think twice. Did some, didn't quite break through, waited an hour, did some, didn't break through, waited an hour, because that's, the amount of time you have to wait. DMT for, I think, your tolerance to replenish. At least that's what I've been told. I'm pretty sure that's the case. But in any case, I stupidly went, okay, you know what? Because this is the thing. I was getting very mixed messages because I had that 35 milligram trip where I didn't have to black out and break it through. But I'd done DMT dozens of times before this, and as I said, 25, 30 milligrams wasn't breaking through, and I was getting all of it. Because the thing is, with that method of melting it and rolling it around, none of it's getting sucked down to the bottom of my bubbler or anything. It's, the surface area you all see, and it's not in powdered form, so it's not going to be pulled away or anything. If it burns, you'll see it. It'll be crusty on the inside, but it's pretty hard to burn it in the first place. I find, anyways. I mean, some people do fuck that up very easily. But yeah, so I get in my head that why don't I just put in 60 and I can break through 2 times in a row. Smart idea. Don't recommend it, because that's not how it works. I don't know, maybe that was just like me unconsciously in desperation wanting that breakthrough and knowing that that would, without a doubt, be enough to get it. So, I'm going and boom, goes, and I'm like, oh fuck, I just lit the whole thing, but now since I did that, I gotta inhale it, and so I pull it in, and I'm like, oh, that's like the hardest thing I've ever had to hold in, and I just finally go, there's this huge plume. I'm talking like the biggest toke of anything I've ever taken. And like, you know, I used to do 6-foot bong hits with tobacco. Not just tobacco, but like a popper where it's like a layer of weed, layer of tobacco, layer of weed, layer of tobacco kind of thing. And those are massive. This was bigger than anything I have ever exhaled. So, you know, for those of you who doubt it was in one hit, I'm telling you it was, because also in like the 5 seconds I had before I was rocked, I looked at the bowl and there was nothing in it, and I was like, oh fuck. And I also double checked afterwards to confirm. I also double checked the bottom of my bubbler just in case I somehow did suck like the molten DMT into the bottom of the bubbler, and I didn't. But this is what happened. So, similar to that first breakthrough, I just like my body was full of air, and I just deflated, like into the bed. And I've noticed this is something that happens now on like pretty much any breakthrough I have, but I mean, there have been some that just hit me too fast and too hard for this to happen, or for me to notice it, but on the ones where I can take it in, I've noticed it happens. Like, instead of the chrysanthemum or whatever Terrence McKenna talks about, where a flower type thing forms and opens up into a tunnel, no. I'll be looking at, like, say, the corner of my room, and it'll fill with this big digital box, and it will go until it consumes me, and then that's when I'm pulled into fucking La La Land. So, as I'm deflating, watch that happen. And then I'm just like kind of in the space, like going like this. Like big sort of like I can't remember very well, but like a vacant space. I think it's hard to remember what was around me because there was this giant golden archway and it was making this noise and kind of jumping back and forth and growing taller, going Viva, and then I just went, and holy cow, talk about fast. Like, I've experienced speeds, particularly on ketamine, where if I'm in deep enough and I think about it enough, then I can picture myself going at like the fastest speeds imaginable, where it's like G-forces, like I can feel like the air, like this was faster than that, but then I just went stopped in this space and couldn't tell if I had my eyes open or closed. I mean, I was probably passed out, because one thing DMT does, a lot of people don't recognize, and this is a big thing that you should keep in mind for safety purposes, is a breakthrough will make you pass out if you're doing it correctly. So don't stand up. I know people have injured themselves doing that. But anyways, so yeah, I'm in this space, and it was like a very, very much a contradiction of a space, because like it seemed like there wasn't a lot going on. Like it seemed like it was just like I was watching it through my mind's eye. like a personification of something you may imagine. And so it felt like it was kind of restricted in that way, but it also felt very vast. And I felt this great sense of peace and nirvana, except I still had that DMT body high of like, which, that made it kind of hard to relax, honestly. But I was looking at, it was like this iron carousel, and there was on the other hand an iron staircase looking thing, like very reminiscent of those old metal staircases you see in like Victorian libraries. You've probably seen it in the film or something like that. Like they look like they would suck to eat shit down, Yeah, ouch. And they were like just kind of hanging out in this space that was like it was like pink, like rose pink and yellow, and it felt like it went on forever, but it also felt like it didn't go on very far. That's what I mean. This was like a contradiction of space. And there were jesters, and they weren't dancing that fast, but they would go like dunk, dunk, dunk. They like kind of like those like Christmas cutouts that you might make as a kid, like gingerbread men or something. Jump into each other and then jump out, dunk, dunk, and then swing around the staircase and the carousel and keep dancing. And I was filled with this nirvana of like knowing that, for DMT this isn't a lot to see, but I feel content at the same time. But then I felt things shift, and it was just like this sort of off-kilter sense of like a wobble, and then and boom, I was on this fucking desert planet. We had like a very reddish sky and like a sun that had this effect of going like closest thing I can approximate it to is those little spinning things that you'll see on the outside of old barber shops. But this is the kicker. There was this big dude right in my face like that, just up in my grill, schnoz to schnoz with this dude. And he was just like, he was dressed like a Fremen from Dune, like the new one. Or, I mean, if you look up pictures of them on Google, fan fiction, stuff like that, because Frank Herbert, he illustrated things with such meticulous detail in the original Dune that, like, it was very easy for artists to reconstruct accurately. So it looked like that, but then he had this big hat, and oh yeah, he was orange too, by the way. This big hat, and it had kind of like tassels coming down with jewels on the end. The hat, the only thing I've seen similar to it is the hat that the three wise men wear, or at least one of them. I don't know. Like, it was large. It didn't look like a hat that served much like practical purpose, but it was cool. And so he's going like, and every time he would like just go like that, the background would change. It still kept coming back to the desert planet, but it would change, and it was like a cosmic wall. There were these gestures jumping around, like just doing silly, crazy shit. There were disembodied middle fingers floating by, like it was strange. And I was starting to freak out just a little bit. And this was so cool. Every time I'd start to freak out, he would be like, hey, and this is the thing. yes, you can communicate with entities on DMT, but me personally, I don't hear them speak words. Like, most of the time, they'll kind of like just be oozing out all these like images and stuff like that, but sometimes I'll hear it in my own head, like my own voice. I'm narrating my own thoughts, but I know it's not like necessarily mine. And so he's like, hey, what's some stuff you want to focus on in your life? Like you haven't dreamt for a long time because you're stoned all the time, right? What was it about dreaming that you loved so much? And so I'd like calm down for a bit, and I would like interact, and that helped. But then I would start to get the fear again. I'd start to panic because of the intensity and the sensation of going so fast. But like he was like saying stuff that just seriously blew my mind. Like he was like, oh boy, we are so glad to see you again, man. We remember you. And I'm like, what? And he's like, yeah. This is where you go when you die. This is where you go before you're born. You were here for a long time, and we used to party, and like, you got tired of this place and transforming your stuff, even though here you can transform infinitely, and that's why we never get bored, and this is kind of like a real heaven. But you got bored and you wanted to try being human, so you were going to be human. Like I remember him talking with this like weird, almost, like token black sort of southern black sort of cadence, but it just made it like that much quirkier to me. Even though, like, again, I'm like not hearing the voice, I'm just hearing these in my own head. But he felt like a very profound figure, like a very, like I was talking to something very prestigious. And so yeah, he was like, yeah, the thing is though, life is human, that's just that more life, that's a simulation too. This is a simulation, everything's a simulation. He's like, but at the same time, you still, it doesn't matter, simulation, it doesn't matter if it is one or not. You're supposed to make the most of it regardless, because you're there, regardless of whether it's a simulation or not. It doesn't take away from the value. And I mean, like, that's a very profound message. Yes, I had that same thought, like a while before I did this, but it was still, like, cool to hear. And so, yeah, spent the rest of the trip then going, occasionally freaking out, and then him being like, whoa, calm down, we're still here, just enjoy it, and, I learned to surrender, and I did enjoy it. And then I jumped up like, holy fuck, this is the most amazing thing I've ever experienced. And like, I look at the clock, it was just 15 minutes that had gone by, and I was just like, whoa, what? That felt like lifetimes, because that's the thing, everyone's like, oh, DMT, man, it's like businessman's trip, dog, you're only gone for like 10, 15 minutes, dog, it's not that crazy, dog, or, well, I mean, it's crazy, but regardless, you're not gone for that long, dog. But here's the thing, you're that far gone, you have no comprehension of time or space. Nada, nil, zilch. It's crazy. And it can feel like forever, so, just be wary of that. I've also had that, 15 or what, 20, 40 minutes, go by in what felt like 5 seconds. So it's just, really twists your perception of time, unlike anything else. So, yeah, and I when I came out, I kept having that phrase, there are no atheists in the foxhole, there are no atheists in the foxhole, there are no atheists in the foxhole, running through my head. And, oh yeah, he also said to me that I was like royalty, which I was like, what the fuck? Like, am I the lost Serena? am I going to inherit great wealth when I die? And, you know, all this stuff. But, like, he didn't really elaborate on the lost Tsarina thing. That was that was a hoax anyways. At least the woman who claimed to be the Tsarina. But anyways, yeah, for a while, I, like, you know, I went and I told my parents, and they were like, oh, cool, man. I told my friends when they called me, and, I mean, they're all just like, cool, man. But, yeah, that was a pretty cool experience. I mean, like, I also, like, because this is me, I did, like, really strong LSD the next day, and, when I closed my eyes, like, I saw a human-looking dude with a crown who looked very much like this dude, just like, you know, kind of stripped down, more bare bones and humanoid anyways, in appearance. But, you know, again, I'm not someone who embraces the spiritual, because I've seen no spiritual like content to embrace outside of being high. I think these are more so like projections of archetypes in one's subconscious and conscious mind, mixed with, you know, this extensive layering of you know, jumbled sensory input going on. And the entity thing, I think, are, you know, stem cells in your brain being produced from that powerful experience from the amygdala. Not that that's confirmed in humans, but it's shown in other animals with very similar biological makeup. You know, your brain perceives that, I think, as something alien and something ascended in its form compared to you, especially because, you know, they are, like, pretty much the building blocks of who you were, and your brain hasn't, you know, experienced them since you were a fetus. So it's assigning some interpretation to that. No, anyways, I've gone on for long enough, but yeah, cool story, crazy story. I've had some intense breakthroughs since then, but I've never had any that are quite as fascinating as that. At least in terms of, like, what the dude was saying to me and everything, but, you know, visual content, as far as that's concerned, I have had crazier ones. But yeah, I mean, that was definitely the most lucid and, like, interactive, I suppose. Yeah. Take it for what it is and enjoy it. Yeah, I mean, if you want to try that method that I talked about with the DMP, you know, be my guest again. You know, lung capacity is a huge factor in that. Also, you know, your pace in which you're inhaling, you know, holding it, exhaling, so on and so forth. But yeah, you know, give it a try. Be my guest. Let me know how it went. And yeah, have a wonderful day. Have an even better life.